It's Kim Kenny Mott, and today we're going to cook some delicious comfort food. Comfort foods meaning really decadent in flavor, but actually they have a healthy twist. The base of both of my recipes today is going to be cauliflower. I love using cauliflower as a sauce, make a sauce base out of the cauliflower, which I have done before with my cauliflower gratin recipe in a previous video. You can look that up if you'd like. It's one of my favorite ways to cook cauliflower. Anyway, this is my first recipe. I'm going to make a cream of chicken soup. Now, I took the liberty of starting it for you so we don't have to wait so long and watch me do it. I floured some cauliflower. I cut it all up into small pieces, put it on the stove with some chicken broth, and I simmered it until it was really, really soft. I like to use a low sodium chicken broth, but it's completely up to you. I find that I'd rather add salt later than if it just happens to be too salty later. You can't take the salt out of it. Anyway, so I simmered it until it was really, really soft, and now I have it in my blender. And I'm going to hope that it doesn't make a big mess because it's pretty high up on my blender. So I sauteed some vegetables. I have onions, carrots, mushrooms, and I sauteed them until they were nice and soft with some dried thyme. I threw in there some salt and pepper. And then at the end, when it was just about done, I threw in some chopped spinach. I always find that adding spinach or some sort of a green, dark green, leafy green to any kind of food, you don't really taste it for those picky eaters out there, but it adds a lot of vegetables, it adds a lot of extra nutrients to your food. So every chance I can get, I try to add more vegetables. So let's just pretend this is my cooking pot. I have really hot vegetables here. I just finished sauteing them, so they're really soft. And I'm just going to dump them in here. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit of cooking sherry. I love sherry. Actually, this is regular sherry, a drinkable sherry. I don't really like that stuff you get in a bottle at the grocery store. But this is some sherry. I like to add a little bit it just adds a little bit of deftness to the dish without it being too overpowering. It's one of those things that people say, wow, that's really good. What's in there? They would never know there was sherry in it. So I'm going to blend up this cauliflower. So it's just cauliflower and chicken broth. That's it. And I'm going to cover it with a towel just in case I make a really big mess. I should probably have an apron on or something, but I don't. So I'm going to cover it up. And I'm going to blend this until it's really, really smooth. One of the reasons to cook it until the cauliflower is super soft is it doesn't take very long to blend. And I'm going to taste it to see if it needs any seasoning. And I used low sodium chicken broth, so it's not overly salty. And actually this is good for me. I don't like things that are too salty, but you can certainly add more salt if you want to. But I will add some pepper. So I'm going to add some pepper. All right, so I'm going to take this out, and I'm just going to pour it right into this bowl. Now this is like a creamy soup, yet it's not, there's no heavy cream or butter or anything in it. So it's a really good way to get extra vegetables into your diet, especially if you have those picky eaters at home. I can smell the sherry. Mix it up. Now I have some evaporated low-fat milk. You could use fat-free if you'd like. You could use whole milk if you'd like. but I like the evaporated because it just adds a rich creaminess without actually adding heavy cream. So I'm just going to dump it in there. And I have some chicken. I have a rotisserie chicken, so this is just leftover chicken. It's already cooked. Dump that in there. And I have some wild rice. I like using wild rice because I like the texture of it. It's pretty, it's nutritious, and it's a step up from boring brown rice. I always try to eat whole grains whenever I can. So I have some cooked wild rice, and this is actually instant wild rice, so it only took 5 minutes on the stove and 5 minutes after it was cooked to let it sit, so 10 minutes total to cook it. And wild rice, if you've ever cooked regular wild rice, it takes a long time to cook. So this is easy. And I think you can probably already buy it pre-packaged, cooked already. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, this is pretty easy using the instant. So I'm going to dump that in. And then you have it. It's done. Before you serve it, of course, you want to heat it up so it's hot. So just pretend it's really hot, and I'm going to ladle it into my bowl. That looks really good. And I think I'm going to top it with, I made some croutons out of some day-old bread. I'm just going to top it with a couple of croutons, some extra, a little bit of extra pepper. I like pepper on my soup. It's really, really good. It's really hearty. There's a lot of vegetables in it, so it fills you up. And it's so low fat. It's really something that you could actually serve to your guests, and they would have no idea they were eating something that was really, really decadent and rich. So that's one recipe. My next recipe is a pot pie. It's a ham pot pie. I developed this recipe because it was after the holidays and I had all this leftover ham. I was so tired of doing the regular, normal, everything you do with ham. So I came up with this recipe. Ham pot pie, it's another thing that I decided because I also had a lot of cauliflower in my refrigerator, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to use it as a base to make this also. So I'm going to use the same blender. And I did the same thing. Chicken broth, simmered my cauliflower until it was really, really soft. Just get the rest of that in there. And to this is more like my cauliflower gratin recipe. It's basically the same thing as far as the base of it goes, the cream part of it goes. So I'm going to add a little nutmeg, fresh ground nutmeg. I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese gives it a really rich flavor without adding a lot of calories to it. And I also used low sodium chicken broth on this too because Parmesan cheese has a lot of salt. I'm going to add some more pepper. I like a lot of pepper, so add as much pepper as you want. And then I'm going to blend it up. You want it to be really smooth like a sauce also. Alright. I should have tasted it before I took the blades out. I think it needs a little more salt. I'm going to add a little more salt to it. And I'll just mix it up. Okay, so I have ramekins. I love individual pot pies. It's instant portion control. So I have these little ramekins. I think they hold about 2 cups each. I already have one ready for you. But what I do is I take the ham, cubed ham, just diced up into little bite-sized pieces, and you just divide it up among the ramekins. They're not ramekins, they're balls. So this way everybody gets the same amount in each serving. And I have a frozen bag of mixed vegetables. How easy is that? And I took it and I defrosted them. I stuck them in the microwave just to lightly cook them. I didn't want to cook them all the way. So it's just a frozen bag of vegetables, and I'm going to divide that amongst these bowls so everybody gets the same amount. And then frozen pearled onions. This is something I just happen to have in my freezer, and I was digging around trying to figure out what to put in my pot pies. I had these frozen pearl onions, so I used them, and I'll tell you what, it was the best thing in this pot pie. I loved the onions in it, so please don't skip this part. So what I did was I thawed them out, and then I cooked them in the microwave for maybe 3 minutes, just so they weren't raw. So I'm going to divide them up into each bowl. All right, so now I'm going to divide this cream sauce, it's a cauliflower sauce, I guess, into each bowl. Divide it up evenly. That's good. And then I'm going to carefully mix everything up. Now what I'm going to do is I have sliced Jarlsberg light cheese. I love Jarlsberg. It's really, really good flavor. You can use Swiss cheese, you could use cheddar cheese, whatever kind of cheese that floats your boat. Stick it on top. And then what I also did was I took some whole wheat bread, fresh whole wheat bread, and I made breadcrumbs out of it in my little mini chop. I just pulsed it a few times. And I like the fresh breadcrumbs because this is all going to go in the oven and it's going to crisp up in the oven. And I just have a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to put it in there. I have some parsley, dried parsley. You could use fresh parsley if you want. You don't have to use any parsley. It doesn't matter. Some salt and pepper. A little bit of salt. Because you want this is going to be a crunchy topping. Instead of a pie crust for the pot pie, this is going to be a little bit healthier. And still have a really, really good, delicious effect at the end. So I'm going to mix this all together. Now the olive oil, you want to coat all the breadcrumbs so it'll get nice and crispy. And I'm going to top each pot pie with some of the mixture. Just divide it evenly amongst all the bowls. Now, this goes into a 350 degree oven for maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If the topping starts getting too brown, you can just lightly cover it with a piece of foil, but you want it to be nice and bubbly and brown. So I have a couple that are ready for you. Just finished them. These look so good. Let me see, I don't know where my other pot holder is. There it is. Doesn't that just look delicious? So, I have to taste it, of course. So you have this cheesy top, yum, and this crunchy topping. It's really hot, so I don't want to burn myself. This is my favorite part. Mmm. Mmm. That is so good. Nobody would ever know you use cauliflower instead of a really thick, rich, buttery cream sauce. So those are two comfort foods that I love, and I decided to make them healthy, so that's what I did, and I'm happy to share them with you, and I really, really hope that you try them, because I know you'll like them. See you all later. Thank you. Until the next time.